being from the Deep South, we kind of pride ourselves on, the community. And I feel the same here as I do, in the Deep South. Everyone is very collegial. They're nice. Have to say hats off to Arizona State for the magnificent job that they've done, the local organizing committee, Visit Phoenix, the volunteers. It's just the people. And that's ultimately what makes a Final Four. And that's why we've come back to Phoenix, because you put on a magnificent show.
Yeah, thank you. That means a lot to us. And Dan, you were here for the 2017 Men's Final Four, the first time we hosted. I'd just love to hear kind of what you thought about that experience, why you wanted to bring it back so quickly in 2024.
Well, incredible experience for the teams that were fortunate enough to be here. It was only this is only the second time in the last 29 years that the NCAA has had the Men's Final Four in the western part of the United States. The first time, of course, was in 2017. And as Charles noted, it was just an incredible experience for the four teams that advanced here. And we know that because every year after the Final Four, we make a campus visit to the four schools that were fortunate enough to be in the Men's Final Four. We visit with the president, athletic director, coaches, student athletes. And we know for certain that North Carolina, Gonzaga, Oregon, and South Carolina, who were fortunate enough to play here, two of them for the first time ever in the Men's Final Four, had an incredible experience here in Phoenix in the Valley of the Sun. And we're fortunate and know that whoever advances and is lucky enough and talented enough to get here in April will have that same kind of experience. Couldn't be more thrilled to be back.
Excellent. Thank you. Well, just sticking with that kind of history, I mean, you have amazing basketball roots. It's in your DNA, Dan. There's nothing you haven't done in college basketball. But talk about kind of the history of Arizona and what our history is around championships and March Madness.
Well, incredible history, and of course, continuing to grow. This will be the 25th time that the state of Arizona has hosted March Madness games. The very first time was in 1974 in a brand new McHale Center in Tucson, where they hosted the West Regional. And the very first game ever played there was a 111-100 triple overtime game that UCLA beat Dayton, thanks to the heroics of Bill Walton quite a while ago.
About that.
Incredible history. And since then, we've had games, of course, in Phoenix and Glendale and Tempe. This will be the 7th time that games will be held here in the Valley of the Sun, and just the 6th time since 1999 that we've been here. So you can tell that the NCAA loves bringing its premier event here to the Valley of the Sun, and will continue to do so, I'm certain. The first game of the semifinals on April 6th will be the 100th game of March Madness played in the state of Arizona. And we're looking forward, of course, to bringing the Women's Final Four back here to Phoenix, to your
Sure, all right, can't wait.
We are too.
In 2026.
Yeah, we are too. Thanks, Dan. Well, Charles, the NCAA tournament selection process certainly gets a lot of interest from media and fans. And with the regular season halfway over, which is unbelievable, it's flying by, what's the committee focused on? Can you tell us who you're going to invite to the big dance? Can you give us any insider information? But just what can you tell us about the process?
Michigan's struggling right now, so let's make sure you evaluate the whole season, not just right now. We're under 500, but we're coming.
I see you seeing our talking points.
We're coming, we're coming.
Well, we actually start evaluating games on day one. So our process literally started back in November. We have committee members that break up different conferences to the tune of a primary for 3 or 4 and then a secondary. So each member will have approximately 7 conferences. So we want to make sure that no stone is unturned when it comes to basketball, whether that's injuries, coach availability, just any intricate detail when it comes to evaluating these teams. We have so many metrics that we look at. When you walk into the committee room, there are 4 monitors, right? And this monitor has all of these different matrix and information. So there's literally no stone unturned. We'll look at every team. It's 360 plus Division I teams that we'll take a look at. And ironically, we have a monitoring call this afternoon that we'll get together, and our committee members will start to hash out what teams they like, what teams they think needs that additional improvement, which we call under the consideration board. In approximately 3 weeks, we'll get together in Indianapolis, and we'll have our top 16 unveil. that'll be on our television network that Saturday as well. So there's a lot of work that goes into it prior to us getting into the selection room here in a very short couple of weeks.
Wow. I mean, did you have any idea, Josh, that was happening when you were in the men's Final Four?
Our job was just to win. If you won it, took care of all of it and all the details. But I would follow it. I was the analytics nerd who was following Twitter on my phone to see what the rankings were, because this is when you guys started releasing things. They do the mock simulations of it. So I was following very closely. If I would have known these guys, would have been texting them saying to move us up a little bit, but it all worked out.
You've got their numbers now.
I sure do.
You're good.
Sure do. I'll be working them all the way through.
So Josh, let's talk about your experience, right? The student-athlete experience is really important to the NCAA. Obviously, you've been through it. We love hearing your firsthand experience as the captain of the Michigan team. But what do you remember about that run up to being in Atlanta and just the tournament in general?
It still gives me the chills. Besides meeting my wife, the next best thing that ever happened to me was playing in the Final Four. It was the coolest experience ever. As a kid growing up, my dream was to play in the Final Four. It was to see the video that plays and then all the fans. And it's like the life of a rock star. So you land and you get a police escort, which is the coolest thing ever. And there's a band playing in the lobby. You're like, I've really made it now. I was here. I've gone straight downhill ever since then. But from practice to the games, and just it's a whole event. For every single night you have something, and you're talk of the media world. You're talk of pop culture, sports, and they do such a good job with it. Every detail is intentional. So for the student athletes coming, you think you know, but you truly have no idea how life-changing it will be. And I always say, if I didn't get to play in that and get to be the captain of that team, I'm not sure I'm sitting here. The doors that open for me to be on that level is, I think, a big reason why I have the opportunity I have now.
Yeah, yeah. And did you take any mementos from that game that
you
want to talk about?
I did.
Or?
Do you still let them take the chair if you play in the national championship? And one other point, we didn't win, but we technically didn't lose because it got vacated from Louisville. So we didn't win or lose. We just kind of were in it. But we got to keep our chair, and my chair was more worn out because I didn't play in the game, but I was on the bench. So my chair is still my office chair in my home here, and I look at it every single day. My wife wants me to get rid of it, get a nicer chair, but never. That chair is staying with me thick and thin.
That chair is staying around. I mean, there's a lot of talk about the mementos and the memories that all the athletes take with them.
It's the best.
And when we think about, and this is really for all three of you, I mean, as you said, when they step off the airplane in Arizona, what do we want that experience to be like? What do you expect?
Something they'll never forget. Literally, the next generation of Josh Bartelstein sitting up here a number of years later saying it was one of the highlights of their playing career and their life.
Their life, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, not just from a student-athlete standpoint, I think it's one of those breathtaking things for everyone that's involved. You know, coming to the cities, the police escorts. You know, this is one of the best, and I'm biased, I would say the best athletic event in the world. I mean, it goes on for 3 weeks. You're making literally individuals' dreams come true, and I think that's a very special thing.
Yeah. I would just add it off for this great perspective. Like for these student athletes, their entire dream was to get to this point playing basketball. Their families took them to AAU tournaments and youth tournaments to get to this point, and you make it here and you feel what that is. So I just hope everyone, when they get here, they take one step back. Of course, you want to win the whole thing, but just enjoy the moment because it all is so fragile and goes so fast. But it truly is a life-changing event.
Yeah.
When you think about it in the sport of basketball, too, you get the Olympic Games, of course, the NBA Finals. The ultimate in basketball is to play in the NBA and play for a world championship. But at no time will a player ever in their career play in front of 70,000 people than except at the men's Final Four. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience to play in a building that big with that many eyes focused on your game.
Well, thank you all. I love the insights. I love the perspective. This just got me even more excited about what we're creating here over the next 80 days. So thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
And we will ask our second panel to come up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Now we're still on the mic. Thank you, Charles, very much.
Great job.
Welcome.
We have to stand up for the Sun Devils.
We love our ASU band. Thank you. Way to bring it. Okay, our second panel is going to focus on men's Final Four events, legacy projects, and really Phoenix as a host destination. And we've got such a great story to tell. It's my pleasure to welcome on your right, Joanne Scott, NCAA Managing Director, Men's Basketball Championships. And I have to give Joanne a shout out. She is the tip of the spear at the NCAA when it comes to this event. And we just appreciate your support and your partnership. You've made it really special for all of us, so thank you. And then Jeff Barton in the middle, Phoenix City Manager. We're really glad to have you, and we appreciate all your efforts around hosting this event, so thank you.
Thank you.
And then Lisa Urias, who I introduced earlier, is on our board of directors. She is also the CEO and executive deputy director of the Arizona Office of Tourism. Lisa, thank you.
Sure.
You're so important to everything we're doing. Joanne, I want to start with you. We're sitting here at the East Lake Community Center. Can you give us some insights into the NCAA Legacy Project presented by Degree Deodorant and just why it's important to the NCAA? And I remember you talking about this over a year ago and what it was going to mean to this community, and I'd love to hear your perspective.
Yeah, sure. It's awesome to be here, and like Charles, happy to be doing a press conference outside where we're from Indianapolis, where it's I think 9 degrees. So we're just thrilled to be here. But before I go there, I just want to give a big shout out to the Phoenix Local Organizing Committee, to the City of Phoenix. This event and the planning over the last 12 months does, the NCAA is in Indianapolis. We come once a month, but this event would not take place with all the wonderful folks. Shout out to our hosts, Arizona State. Ray, thanks. Chiz, thanks. The band. You guys have all been very supportive of everything we've done for the last 12 months. So just thanks to all of you. We're about education and higher education and letting kids dream. And so I think this is one of my favorite parts about the event week of the Final Four and leading up to it, is because we like to find locations where we can help kids dream. So this project is a legacy event for the Final Four. It is brought to you by Unilever, our corporate partner, the Phoenix Local Organizing Committee, and the NCAA. It's about just revitalizing this community and doing what we can do. This project will take place from today moving forward. We will be back the week of Final Four, so we invite you all to come back to our ribbon cutting on what the construction over the next few months. But I also want to give a shout out to the Arizona Sports and Tourism Authority, because they have really stepped up as well to help us fund this project. So what is the project? As we sit here before you, I will say to you, there's about 13, I think, counted. Inside, we will do a new court. We will do new hoops. We will install backboards. We will have new benches, new bleachers, scoreboard, shot clocks. We're going to put in a new weight room. We're even going to put in a new weight room floor. And then outdoors, with the outdoor court, same thing, court, hoops, backboards. And then again, education, is of all aspects of not just sport, and art is a big part of that. And so we're going to do a mural as well with a local artist as well with the center. So stay tuned. Like I said, welcome back, so you can kind of see all those improvements when we come back. So when we're visiting facilities, this facility is about 20,000 kids annually that will use this facility, and 8,000 inside and about 8,000 outside. So we hope to provide an opportunity
Good afternoon. Before the City Council meeting, we will convene the Verdun Community Facilities District. I'll call to order the Verdun Community Facilities District Board of Directors meeting. Will the clerk call the roll?
Board Member Ansari. Board Member Guardado. Here. Board Member Hodge-Washington. Here. Board Member O'Brien.
Here.
Board Member Pastor. Here. Board Member Robinson. Here. Board Member Waring. Vice Chair Stark.
Here.
Chairwoman Gallego.
Here. Is there a motion to approve the canvass of the votes?
Yes, Mayor, I move to approve the canvass of the votes for the February 28th, 2024 Vernon Community Facilities District election, announcing and declaring the results.
Second. Any comments? Roll call.
Ansari. Guardado.
Yes.
Hodge-Washington.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Pastor. Robinson.
Yes.
Waring. Stark.
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
This meeting is now adjourned. Please welcome Police Chaplain Jim Williams to lead us in an invocation.
Would you all bow your hearts in prayer with me, please? Lord, I lift up to you our mayor, our council, and their staff members before you as they are precious and willing individuals that share their leadership, talents, and gifting with our great city. Father, I ask that you draw each of them near you, anoint them as your appointed leaders, and provide them with your wisdom, understanding, and discernment as only you can do. Lord, grant them favor to know and understand your purposes and the vision to provide all of us the correct and proper direction. Lord, I ask that you provide a hedge of protection around your city leaders, your city employees, their first responders, and all of their families, that they remain healthy and safe. Lord, we thank you in advance for your support, your love that you show to your city leaders, employees, and residents of this great city. Amen.
Please remain standing. Thank you, Chaplain. Councilman Robinson, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman. I'll now call to order the Phoenix City Council formal meeting for March 6, 2024. Will the clerk call the roll?
Councilwoman Ansari.
Here.
Councilwoman Guardado.
Here.
Councilwoman Hodge-Washington.
Here.
Councilwoman O'Brien.
Here.
Councilwoman Pastor.
Here.
Councilman Robinson.
Here.
Councilman Waring. Vice Mayor Stark.
Here.
Mayor Gallego.
Here. Elsie Duarte and Mario Barajas are with us to provide Spanish interpretation. Elsie, would you please introduce your team?
Actually, Mayor,
Mario, would you
this
please
is
introduce your team?
yes. Good afternoon. I'm Mario Barajas, and together with Elsie Duarte, I'll be serving as an interpreter together with Elsie. I'm now going to take a moment to introduce ourselves to our Spanish-speaking audience. Hola, buenas tardes. Yo soy Mario Barajas y junto con mi colega Elsie Duarte estaremos sirviéndoles como intérpretes a los de habla hispana el día de hoy.
Okay, thank you.
Deseamos pedirles de antemano, si es que van a dar un comentario público, por favor, hable despacio, con claridad y evite tener distracciones de fondo. Finalmente, pause después de cada una o dos oraciones para que podamos interpretar lo que esté diciendo de la manera más completa posible. Gracias. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you so much, Mario. Would the city clerk please read the 24-hour paragraph?
The titles of the following ordinance and resolution numbers on the agenda were available to the public at least 24 hours prior to this council meeting and therefore may be read by title or agenda item only. Ordinances number G 7222 and 7234 through 7238, S 50616 through 50661, and resolutions 22183 through 22186.
Thank you so much. Will the city attorney please explain the role of public comments?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Members of the public may speak for up to 2 minutes to comment on agenda items. Comments must be related to the agenda item and the action being considered by the council. General comments that go beyond the scope of the agenda item must be made in the citizen comment session at the end of the agenda. The City Council and staff cannot discuss or comment on matters related to pending investigations, claims, or litigation. Additionally, any member of the public who appears before council in their capacity as a lobbyist must, as required by Phoenix City Code, disclose this fact before addressing council. The City Code requires speakers to present their comments in a respectful and courteous manner. Profane language, threats, or personal attacks on members of the public, council members, or staff are not allowed. A person who violates these rules will lose the opportunity to continue to speak.
Thank you so much. Items 1 through 3 are meeting minutes. Councilwoman Ansari, do you have a motion on item 1?
Move to approve?
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Councilwoman O'Brien, do you have a motion on item 2?
I move to approve.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes unanimously. Item 3, Councilman Robinson, do you have a motion?
I do. I move to approve.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Passes unanimously. Item 4 is boards and commissions. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor, and I'm very excited to make the motion to approve the mayor and city council boards and commission nominations.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes unanimously. We will now swear in our new commissioners. Please raise your right hand. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of the office of. State your office. According to the best of my ability. So help me God. Thank you for serving our city. Congratulations. Thank you, Roxanne. Thank you for your help with our Neighborhood Block Watch Oversight Committee. The City Council provides an advisory role to the state of Arizona on liquor license applications, and that is the next portion of our agenda. Vice Mayor, do we have a motion?
Yes, I move to approve items 5 through 19.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, nay. Passes unanimously. Some exciting ones, including the St. Patrick's Day event and Final Four. City Clerk, are we ready for ordinances, resolutions, new business, planning, and zoning?
Yes, Mayor.
Vice Mayor, do we have a motion?
Thank you. I make a motion to approve items 20 through 84, except the following: items 67, 78, 82, and 83, noting that item 44 is requested to be continued to April 17, 2024. Item 79 is requested to be continued to June 26, 2024, and excluding these additional items for virtual public comment, item 84. And can the clerk confirm if there are any other items that should be excluded for in-person public comment?
Yes, Mayor, Vice Mayor. Also excluding items 23, 51, 55, and 61, also excluding items 23, 51, 55, and 61.
Thank you. We have a motion. Did we get a second? We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Ansari,
Yes.
Guardado,
Yes.
Hodge Washington,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Pastor,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Waring, Stark,
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
We next go to item 23, which is to purchase flags from AGAS Manufacturing. Do we have a motion?
I move to approve item 23.
Second.
Motion and a second. Leslie.
Okay, for this item, it's for $65,000 in payment authority for a new contract entered or about, March 15, 2024, for a term of 5 years for flags, flagpoles, and accessories for citywide departments. This contract will provide all the weather flags for displayed in various locations throughout the city and as needed in bases. Flags provided will include the United States, the state of Arizona, city of Phoenix, and various international flags. This contract will also provide flagpoles, mounting hardware, and so some of that sounds really good. The problem I'm having is that, one, it's, $65,000, and it's international flags. Why are we spending money on international flags? I see what's going on even outside when we came in here. We got people out there trying to raise money and awareness for homeless animals. We know we got a lot of homeless over there on Madison. I know it gets a little cleaned up. Unfortunately, Mr. Jeffrey, I think Mr. Jeff, or whatever his name is, when he comes up here and he confirms stuff, when we give input and then you have somebody come up and then you ask questions and they say, no, that isn't like that, or we've got it taken care of, just because they say it doesn't mean it's true. Why am I saying that? $65,000, and we're going to worry about, international flags included in that as well. But yet, the last time I was here, I was talking about porta potties being made available to the homeless that are all within this neighborhood. And then Mr. Jeff came up here and told you, oh, that's taken care of. Now, the reason I brought it up, because it was money that was involved in that agenda item, and so is there in this one. But yet, we still have absolutely no porta potties that are outside this building. There's no porta potties that are down there off of Madison. And you know what? You can drive down there right now. You can see it for yourself, even if he comes up and says it's happening. So when we spend money for things that are frivolous and we have a lot of homeless, especially veterans, I think we're wasting our tax dollars. Thank you.
Roll call.
Ansari,
Yes.
Guardado,
Yes.
Hodge Washington,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Pastor,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Waring, Stark,
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
Do we have a motion on item 51?
I move to approve item 51.
Second.
Leslie.
Okay, so this is regarding public education program through Arizona Media Association contract. So basically, this is further request to authorize the city controller to disperse all funds related to this item. The total value of the contract will not exceed $120,000. This contract will provide the communication office with the design and implementation of public service campaigns and advertising. Proposed public education program campaigns will promote water conservation, drought messaging, various different things here. The government should not be using television or brainwashing people with any of these propaganda things. This agenda item is another $1 million down the drain. I know you guys already first the motion. I know you guys already second the motion, so it's just a technicality of letting me come up here. The only reason I came up to speak isn't because I'm going to persuade you, because I don't think that it does. But I am noticing that a lot of money is going towards stuff that, quite frankly, when we're advertising for these things, you got to wonder, why are you advertising for it? Why? I don't think you guys are purposely knowing that you're being used like a tool, but I think you are. Thank you.
Ma'am, that item that you described is not this item. 24 was not pulled. We have item 51.
Thank you. Roll call.
Ansari,
Yes.
Guardado,
Yes.
Hodge Washington,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Pastor,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Waring, Stark,
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
Item 55 is the Air Service Incentive Program. Do we have a motion?
I move to approve item 55.
Second.
Motion and a second. Leslie?
So now I will say sorry with the microphone. I'm sorry about reading the wrong one. I apologize about that. So Air Service Incentive Program. This requests to authorize the city manager or its designee to approve between 2024 and 2028 air service incentive programs for Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport. The maximum amount being requested to support the new international nonstop flight will be up to $5 million per incentive. I remember the last time I was here and we were talking about this, and I remember the gentleman over there said that that's their money because they're self-sufficient, but yet they're coming here and asking for approval. So we already know that is deception. It is absolute deception. We have several people that usually come here from the airport talking about all the ways in which they don't receive their paychecks, they do not get their promotions, and we've got another thing here, $5 million incentive program that's not going to benefit most of the people that are for sure in this room, and I don't mean that putting anyone down. Maybe you have flown internationally nonstop, but usually that's a globalist thing. This is a globalist policy. The citizens of Phoenix are now on the hook for $5 million per contract to fly nonstop internationally. How many people in Arizona have flown nonstop internationally, besides maybe some of you behind the dais up there? This is inequitable. It benefits the wealthy globalist business owners, and it does not benefit the average Phoenician. This policy needs to die with the World Economic Forum dumpster. Let's light it on fire. MAG is associated with World Economic Forum. And I know that a lot of people in here don't realize there's a gentleman that he just now became aware of the fact that over in London, they have the 15-minute cities, and they fine you when you go outside of your zone a certain amount of times, which you guys don't realize you're actually welcoming these things in here when you do this type of stuff. And until the homeless is taken care of, the fact that you guys are spending an absorbent amount of money on things that are not necessary for us lets me know that you are not prioritizing the people that live.
Roll call.
Ansari,
Yes.
Guardado,
Yes. Yes.
Hodge Washington,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Pastor,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Waring, Stark,
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
Vice Mayor, do we have a motion on item 61?
I move to approve item 61.
Second.
Leslie?
If there's no other agenda item that proves my point, this is the one. When we're surveillanced, when we're paid attention to for not breaking a rule, so that when somebody does break a rule, you can say, see, it worked out really handy. No, that's called surveillance, and it's against our rights. You guys are sworn to uphold the Constitution. When you do things that violate, especially the Fourth Amendment, you're violating your oath. This right here, these traffic signals, I mean, it's $200,000 in additional funds revised to aggregate the value of contract will not exceed $700,000. So these traffic things that keep track of our license and us, that cost us money, I'm going to keep saying it. We got homeless out there. We have people who don't even have a toilet that they can go to the bathroom in, so they don't have to worry about possibly being raped if it's a woman. I've heard so many women come in here and talk to you about their issue about living on the street. And yet when I see this kind of thing, and especially you're going against the Constitution, if you say yes, you are guilty. And so I'm just putting it on record because I'm sure that you already first the motion, you already second the motion. You just brought me up here for the niceties of saying it, so I came up to say it, to put it on record. But I'm asking you guys, please, until we see the homeless situation taken care of, until we see porta pots available for people who have to live on the streets, I'm asking you to consider the fact that even going against the Constitution shouldn't be what motivates you. It should be the fact that we've got people up the street that are hurting, and we've got an absorbent amount of money that's being passed right now, and yet we've got the homeless still in the same situations. You can run what somebody up here is going to tell us, no, it's taken care of. There's porta pots out there for them. I just filmed it. No, there isn't. So now I know to come in here when I talk to you about stuff, because I know you're going to pull up somebody who's going to confirm your choice to vote for it, but I'm just letting you know that it's not true. Thank you.
Thank you. Roll call.
Ansari,
Yes.
Guardado,
Yes.
Hodge Washington,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Pastor,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Waring, Stark,
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
Item 67 is the large water user ordinance. Will the city clerk please read the title?
Item 67 is for ordinance G7237, an ordinance amending Phoenix City Code, Chapter 37, Article 3, pertaining to service connections to add a Division 2 pertaining to large water users.
Thank you so much. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Very excited to make a motion on this. We vetted this at the Transportation Infrastructure and Planning Subcommittee, and I know there's much more discussion to be had at our subcommittee. But with that, I move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. I am very excited about this item because it underscores our longstanding commitment to protecting our precious water supply. For those who are following along, this is the next step in our Sustainable Desert Development Guidelines that we passed last summer. After years of work to get here, today's vote helps us move forward in demonstrating how seriously Phoenix takes its role in shoring up our supply in a drought. Industrial water use, only 4% of our city's total usage. Yet still, we are paying attention to this incredibly important item. Our water use is overwhelmingly residential, but we're looking at how we can help and partner at all different types of water uses. And so we will work with our large water users to plan ahead, to submit a great water conservation plan, and to help us be very intentional about moving forward in the realm of smart water management, which is a reason that we are looked up to across the West. I look forward to working collaboratively with new projects that are choosing Phoenix as their home, and I want to thank our water team for their hard work on crafting this ordinance, gathering stakeholder input, and getting us to where we are today. Councilwoman Ansari, I'll turn to you next.
Thank you. Phoenix's water future is top of mind not only for most Phoenicians, but for people around the country and the world who are considering moving here or bringing their businesses here. I think this ordinance is a very common sense way to make our water system more resilient, especially in a time when our economy is booming and our city is growing. Last night, Councilwoman Hodge Washington and I hosted a Levine meeting, a quarterly meeting we do in the community, and one of the questions we were asked was about why we are allowing so much growth when our water issues remain, and this is something that we take very, very seriously, and I think this ordinance is something that demonstrates that. Not only does Phoenix have plentiful water supply, but we continue to take actions like this one today and continue to work to reclaim wastewater to make sure Phoenix continues to be a great and sustainable place to live. So I'm very proud to be supporting this.
Thank you. Councilwoman Hodge Washington.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm also very happy to be able to position to support this. A few months ago, we asked our residential users to make some adjustments in the way that they use our water to ensure that Phoenix continues to be a sustainable desert city. And I think we're moving in the right direction by asking our large water users to also undertake those same steps to conserve our precious commodity. I'm also grateful that we've indicated that we will be looking at our existing large water users in the future to make similar adjustments to ensure that we continue to have this valuable resource available for all. So thank you again to the Water Department and leadership for ensuring that we do so in a very productive and a strategic manner to ensure the preservation necessary for our city. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilwoman Pastor.
Thank you. one that has been part of this dialogue for quite some time, and one that co-chaired with late Councilwoman Williams on water conservation. This to me is really important. However, I have further questions, and questions that I had asked originally I want answered. So I will ask the questions and see how we can move forward. How many different resources do we have in our water supply? Or where do we get our water supply?
Mayor, Councilwoman Pastor. So in the City of Phoenix's water portfolio, as you're indicating, there's a lot of different sources. The primary ones are the Salt and the Verde rivers, the Colorado River, groundwater, and then different divisions of those entities is what we have.
Okay, so we have three different portfolios of where we get our water. Is that correct?
Yeah, in general terms, yes.
Okay. So if you could turn to slide 4. Or you don't have your slide up. Sorry. You didn't make it, but I'm looking at my. So as you're putting that up, the question I have is, what I understand is every 15 years we have to go to the state to show how our water demand and supply is determined if we have enough. Is that correct?
Mayor, Councilwoman Pastor, yeah, that is correct. Under the Assured Water Supply Program, we have to submit on a 15-year basis an assurance to the state of Arizona that we have more supplies than we need to build out, or out 100 years or so.
Okay. So with the assured water, if we're not there at the 15th mark, and we show that our growth or water use is more than what our supply has, what happens then?
Mayor, Councilwoman Pastor, so I would say it's not necessarily on a 15-year basis. As we have discussed with this council, a lot of our concern is around the Colorado River system. And so at some point in time when the federal government actually decides the allocation that's going to be able to come to the city of Phoenix, or on an annual basis based on their declaration, we would be doing those analysis. But essentially, to answer your question more directly, essentially what would happen is we would have to either identify additional supplies, as all those supplies that we've talked about of Bartlett, advanced purified water, other types of leases that we could be adding, or the other side is we would have to look at the overall plan of the city's growth and make changes in that to ensure that there's a balance. If you want to take that to a budgetary kind of analogy, is there has to be at least in a balanced budget with respect to supply and demand. What I would say is, since its inception of the 100-year assured water supply, the city of Phoenix has always shown that we've exceeded those amounts.
Okay, so I'm gonna get really direct. So what I understand is that, or what I heard is that our Colorado River is really one of our main supplies, and that we're unsure where that's going to go in the future. If the Colorado River continues to decrease, that'll be up to the federal government or a decision on that. I believe it's 2026 that an agreement was signed way back, and a possibility of in the future it's coming up, and there are dialogues and talks with the federal government and the other states. My understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, that really California is the one who has the large, has a bigger portion than Arizona, and so do the tribes. So that will be a bigger dialogue to have, because then what to me that means is if the Colorado River decreases, then our supply decreases. So then we will have to have more conservation tools or methods to happen as water decreases. Am I
Yeah, Mayor.
Am I
Councilwoman
on target?
Yeah, Mayor Councilwoman Pastor, what I would say is that is a very astute analysis of the complicated situation in the sense of currently what's happening on a statewide basis. There's negotiations going on between the 7 basin states of the lower basin and the upper basin, trying to come to a consensus. They have a deadline that's been posed that they have to come to some resolution at the end of 2025, early 26, where things should become a little bit more clear of what the potential impacts that is on our water supply. The challenge that we have, as you're kind of indicating, is it's really difficult to understand on a long-term basis what those impacts are without those negotiations coming to a conclusion.
Okay. But we're very cognizant and being proactive, I guess is the term, to look at that and be able then to put more conservation measures. Because for me, it's about conservation and putting more measures. This is a great start, but I would like to see more conservation happening and more tools for people to conserve.
Yes, so Mayor, Councilwoman Pastor, yes, we would agree, and that's why, as we've rolled out with this program, the incentive programs for turf, for industrial and commercial, our planning group is working on expanding that to residential, probably towards the end of this calendar year. As the mayor alluded to in her remarks, most of our accounts are on the residential side, and so really putting more conservation programs on both that side as well as this industrial customer side are very key components of that demand management that's going to be necessary. But also, as you've pointed out, there's a constant evaluation on a annual basis per se of that data and what the water resources that we are going to have for the next calendar year, and then making those decisions and making those changes as we get that information. It becomes more solidified.
Is there a way that we could, I know this one's big, but look at probably those that are willing to infill their pools for the future? I'm sure there are some residents that would be willing to do that in the sense of fill up their pools. Yes, it is very expensive. I know that. I looked into it. But if they're willing to want to conserve water, or we may need to go that way in the future, meet me halfway. I could pay half and get an incentive from the city to do it. So that's where I'm thinking. But that's just a suggestion. You don't have to take it. My last question is that what amount or measure would trigger us to have a tough conversation about growth?
So if you look out at the water demands out at the build-out scenario, let me see if I have my numbers. It's in the realm, and this is where it's hard, it's in the realm of like 350,000 acre feet, where if you look at our supplies as it stands today, we have extensively more supplies than those out in the future. It's that dynamic of a cut to the Colorado River system that is purely, we just don't know, but I said it should become a little bit more clear over the next few years.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional comments? Roll call.
Ansari,
Yes.
Guardado,
Yes.
Hodge Washington,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Pastor,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Waring, Stark,
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
Like so many of our important water votes, a unanimous vote. Item 78 is in Councilwoman Guardado's district. I will turn to her for a motion and comments.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to make a motion to approve item 78.
Second.
Thank you. So this one is very important to me. This is on Northern between 19th Avenue and the I-17. It's about 80 units affordable housing for our seniors. And it's very special. This was a land gift from the Wayne Howard family. And, just, I know that they're not here today. Nico's not here. Dax isn't here. But I know they have great representation out in the audience. And I remember talking about this property when Wayne was still with us and talking about what the vision could be for that parcel. I remember us having discussions on how we didn't want any more fast food in District 5, that we had a Carl's Jr. at every corner, and thank God that that sale fell through. And I know wherever he's at today, he's looking down on us and seeing how much of a great project we're going to be bringing into District 5 and what it's going to do. And I also want to take a moment to thank Reed Butler, Butler Housing, Davis Ardura, and Zinni Home for their remarkable efforts in bringing the El Caro North Commons project to District 5. The initiative promises to be a valuable asset to our community by providing 80 units of affordable housing options for seniors. Given that seniors are currently the fastest growing demographic experiencing homelessness, this project is a much needed and welcomed addition to our community. I greatly appreciate REIT's dedication and collaboration closely with neighbors and community leaders to secure their support and involvement in this significant project. It's this level of dedication that drives progress in all initiatives, not just those related to affordable housing. I am thrilled to witness the advancement of such an important development, catering to the needs of seniors through affordability and innovation. The enthusiasm surrounding this project is contagious, and I stand with our neighbors and leaders in endorsing this significant endeavor. And then let's not forget that just a few blocks from there, Project Haven will also be built, which will be another asset for seniors experiencing homelessness. So we have a lot of great things happening over at the I-17 and Northern, and just cannot thank everyone enough for having such a great vision for this part of our district, and I am very happy to be able to make this now a reality. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Roll call.
Ansari.
Yes.
Guardado.
Yes.
Hodge Washington.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Waring. Stark.
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
82 and 83 are companion items at the northwest corner of 46th Street and Bellevue Street in District 8. We will vote separately but have one public hearing. We'll go ahead and, Councilman, do you want to introduce it? Perfect.
Thank you, Mayor. As mentioned, this is on the northwest corner of 46th Street and Bellevue. It will provide a change to our general plan, an amendment to our general plan, and it will bring a mix of residential, a mixed-use project to that area. I'm not sure if anyone is here to speak on the items, Mayor?
We have a representative for the applicant available to speak if necessary.
I don't think it's necessary. What I wanted to highlight, go ahead and make the motion to approve the item per the Planning Commission's recommendation and adopt the related resolution.
Second.
Thank you. And I wanted to just say this is, I think, a prime example of when the necessary outreach is done in the community. This item came to us with almost 235 statements in support to opposition, and there was a unanimous decision at both the Village Planning Committee as well as the Planning Commission. It's just a testament of what happens when the community is actively engaged in the onset and how we can bring up a good project to light. So I'm delighted to make this motion.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. This is for both 82 and 83, and close the public hearing. Well, I do appreciate the strong support. More than half of this packet was a single sheet per person, and I would love it if we could do more than one sheet per person. We are all nominated on sheets where multiple people sign at once, and that seems like a perfectly good way to do it. Some of them were still not legible, so no matter how much space you give people, some handwriting is just handwriting that it is. Any additional comments? All right, so this motion will be on 82. Roll call.
Ansari.
Yes.
Guardado.
Yes.
Hodge Washington.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Pastor.
I agree, and yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Waring? Stark?
Yes.
Gallego?
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
83, Councilwoman Hodge Washington.
As mentioned, I am delighted to approve this project, so I move to approve the item per the Planning Commission's recommendation and adopt a related ordinance.
Second.
Motion is second. Roll call.
Ansari?
Yes.
Guardado?
Yes.
Hodge Washington?
Yes.
O'Brien?
Yes.
Pastor?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Waring? Stark?
Yes.
Gallego?
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
Great. Item 84 is a citizen petition related to the Department of Justice. In responding to it, our staff did recommend that we take the advice in it to request the U.S. Department of Justice to release the investigation report as soon as the investigation and report are complete and final, and that the investigatory report should include the totality of the Department of Justice's findings. Sounds like a great suggestion. Vice Mayor.
Yes, and I agree, and it should not just be a mere summary of the department's findings. With that, I make a motion to that recommendation.
Second.
Motion and a second. Councilwoman Pastor.
Can I ask why the staff didn't accept the complete citizens petition?
Mayor, members of the council, Councilwoman Pastor, the citizen petition actually asked for a resolution by the council. However, staff is recommending that the council send a letter with the request outlined in the citizen petition and as articulated by the mayor and vice mayor in order to have a more direct communication with the Department of Justice. We feel like this is a much more effective way to get that communication to them rather than passing a resolution which they may or may not see.
Okay, and then my second question is, why wouldn't we just do that? Why do we need a citizen's petition? Why wouldn't we, as a council, just say, we write a letter and ask that question?
Mayor, members of the council, that would certainly be within your purview to do with or without a citizen petition.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. The petition was from Mr. Roland Harris, so we will begin with him, followed by Kathy Brody.
I'd just like to start off making a statement on why I'm here today. My name is Roland Harris. My son was Jacob Harris. He was only 19 years old when he was murdered by the police officer, Christopher Burks. Jacob was fired at 11 times, being struck twice, with 2 of those bullets ripping through his heart, his lung, and his liver. Subsequently, Jacob was then tortured by fellow officers, being shot 3 times by beanbags, twice in the face. Then had a dog turn loose on him, while officers pulling the dog, dragging Jacob back to them, lying there over 15 minutes before first aid was rendered. I filed this citizen's petition, Mayor, because you're in derelict of your duties to protect the community and hold your murderous police department accountable for these actions, to protect children of color. This is a factual example. The black community only makes up a percentage of 6.8% of the Phoenix population, but are 3 times more likely to be killed than 93% of the other population in this community is seen in Phoenix. This DOJ report is important, so we have a guideline of what needs to be fixed within one of the most murderous police forces in this country. Hopefully one day in the city of Phoenix, a person may be able to use a public restroom without being killed by police, play a video game in their home without being killed by police, where a mother can call the police and ask for mental health for one of her children without that child being killed by Phoenix police. Whereas a person can take a nap in their car without being killed by police. But under your leadership, Mayor, I don't see this happening. And if you are to vote no on this citizen petition, then the blood of the future victims of your murderous police department will be on your hands. Thank you.
Kathy is next, followed by Roberta Martinez.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. My name is Kathy Brody. I'm a resident of District 3. By profession, I am a criminal defense and civil rights lawyer. And I was actually involved in 2 of those cases that are mentioned in that third whereas clause in the resolution that's presented by Mr. Harris. That has to do with the years-long practice of the Phoenix Police Department violently targeting demonstrators who express anti-police views. And that's the 2017 case when the Phoenix Police Department violently dispersed hundreds of protesters with chemical and impact weapons. And then 3 years later, in 2020, when some of the same officers manufactured gang charges against a bunch of protesters, including lying in court. And I've just been hoping for years that this council would take responsibility for the police department, this violent, unconstitutional policing that we have in our city. But I've been involved in those cases, and I've seen the media, and I've seen the inaction. And from my perspective as a lawyer, that's where I'm coming from, it almost seems like this city is being operated like an insurance company. Like the city is being maybe operated by an insurance company, operated by an insurance company for the police. And so my comment today is focused on that, to please ask you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, please take responsibility for this violent police department that is operating under your watch. Stop acting like an insurance company for the police department. And please start taking the side of the citizens in this city who have a right to express their views and have a right to live over being an insurance company for the police. Thank you.
Roberta is next, followed by Lakenia Wilder.
Hello, my name is Roberta Martinez. My aunt is Dorothy Jean Dale Chambers. She was fatally struck while crossing a crosswalk right here in Phoenix. Her and her partner were struck. They were in the crosswalk. The city had failed to put up a street light that was already slated to be put up a year before. It was not put up. Also, at the scene of the crime, the driver was let go. He was physically impaired. It was notated by the police officers. They still let him go. Since then, he's had more speeding tickets. The police has failed to get him into custody and file charges as though that nothing ever happened. They're sweeping deaths underneath the rug like nothing ever happens, like it's not our loved ones. My family has gone through this for 2 years now without any charges brought up for my aunt because they say that, oh, she was homeless, she's unsheltered. The DOJ is supposed to investigate why you guys are not protecting our citizens of Phoenix. You guys are trying to say that the DOJ doesn't need to be here to conclude the investigation. That's not right, because there's too many families out there still waiting for answers. You guys are failing to provide any type of answers for any of these families, whether it's their son who's gunned down, whether it's their aunt, their sister, their grandmother who's in a crosswalk legally, and it's being swept under the rug because you guys are failing to do the investigations to put the people behind bars. Whether it's inside of the police department, whether it's outside the police department, you guys are protecting those who are committing crimes in our area. We need this investigation to continue. We need to see what's the disconnect between us as citizens, the people who are being killed, murdered, swept under the rug, and you guys are just saying it's okay, that it doesn't need to be investigated. It's not right. It's because of people of color. It's certainly not right. I just want justice for my aunt. Say her name, Dorothy Dale Jean Chambers.
Ms. Wilder is next, followed by Beatrice Johnson.
It's a shame that the Justice Department has to come away from Washington, D.C. so this city could do the right things. My aunt Dorothy Jean Dale Chambers and my aunt's significant other Joseph Gutierrez was murdered by Nobeshka Petrovic on April 26, 2022, and still have not gotten justice. It has deeply hurt me and my family knowing that you guys continue to let him get away with murder. I could see if he was a good guy, but even since then he has had another speeding ticket. He could have murdered somebody else's family member. Not to mention, my family have been to all court dates and he have never shown to not one of them. Maricopa County and Phoenix Municipal Court have an agreement to press charges which our family finally were able to receive after trying for many unsuccessful months. And it's the fact that I have to be told about something like this because he wants to be a reckless driver that puts fear in me and other people while crossing the street. Kids my age shouldn't have to worry about people like him. Thank God for crossing guards for protecting kids my age.
Ms. Johnson is next, followed by Stephanie Gonzalez.
Well, good afternoon. I am back, and I sure do not want to be back. I am back. I applaud the DOJ. I have been in talks with the DOJ for over a year. I say let them completely do their job and do this report because there is so much here. It's not an easy fix for you all, and when it comes out, it's going to come out, and they are amazed at what you all do here. But our family is amazed. My sister, Dorothy Jean Dale Chambers, was killed on April 26, 2022, her and her companion. Let's start with the city of Phoenix detective, Taryn Campbell, who never told our family that she was dead, and he had her Arizona ID and my brother's new home ID, not the one she left a year earlier, but that, and he never told us. He sat on this case for many, many months. And I'm here, I have copies for you all that our victims' rights have been sorely violated by the city prosecutor's office. They allowed him to call in on April 26 after he was picked up for 2 charges of seriously bodily injury with death, as well as 1 first-degree failure to appear. Somehow he got arrested and never saw the judge. Our family never had a chance to talk to the judge. He got out that morning. His bail was paid on the 6th, and he got out of jail on March the 1st, but his bail was paid on March the 6th. So how you do that? We got the paperwork, which they tried to hide from me for a very, very, very long time. And I'm going to come back for public comment because this person who killed my sister just got a ticket in 1122 for speeding 57 miles an hour in a 40-mile zone, and he was going 58 to 60 miles before he killed my sister and Joseph Gutierrez. So we'll be back, and the DOJ need to do their job because you all here are complacent in everything that's wrong that happens to Black and brown people.
Stephanie is next, followed by Rebecca.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Gonzalez. I'm a youth organizer with Poder in Action, and I'm here today because we need to face reality that we are living and stop pretending that everything is okay and that we'll fix ourselves because it's not. Again, as my comrade said, we want to demand this council to vote in favor of this resolution. Admit your role in the history of police violence, as this has happened under your supervision, and call the DOJ to publicly release the full report of the findings as soon as the report is ready. And I want to use the rest of my time to tell a story that was sent to me from one of our members who couldn't be here because of how inaccessible these meetings are during this time of the day. She texted me this. My name is Araceli Medina, and my son Alejandro Rodriguez was a victim of Phoenix Police Department on February 3rd, 2024. Someone shot his home and his wife called the police. Once they arrived, they had a very negative attitude and treated my son very badly. He was dying, and they only tried to question him instead of helping him. They told him he was gonna die, and they proceeded to stick a finger up his anus and grabbed his arms back as they were trying to arrest him. He had his intestine ripped in 5 pieces. He came to the hospital bleeding out and with only a 10% chance of life, and his arms were broken. So is this the history that you're trying to repeat over and over again? This is the violence that our residents are facing every single day by Phoenix Police Department. Stop this violence. Say no more and release the full investigation. Thank you.
Rebecca is next, followed by Isabel.
Hi. Oh, hello.
So I'm actually speaking on behalf of Denise Garcia. She is the mother of James Garcia. James was killed by Phoenix PD officers on July 4th, 2020. She could not be here today, so I will be saying what she sent me. On that day, Mayor Kate Gallego, you called me personally to give me your condolences, which at the time I appreciated immensely, and after experiencing the worst news that a mother could ever have experienced. After you gave me your condolences, you stated clearly to me if there's anything you could do or if there's anything that I needed, all I had to do was call you. Within a couple of days, I did call you several times, countless times, wanting answers as to what happened to my son. Where was he? After calling the morgue, calling various hospitals, I later found out that your officers admitted him into a hospital as a John Doe, and you still would not return any of my calls. I am asking to please do what you signed up for, and that is to be a public servant, to work with us, your stakeholders, your community, and to not side with the dark side, always known as PLEA or Phoenix PD, the people who are the perpetrators of this violence. I'm asking you to do the right thing once, please. And I would say that I'm asking this whole council to do the right thing. I understand the recommendation that the city manager's office did. I'm in agreement with that, and I appreciate that, and I think that's the right thing to do. I do believe we also need a resolution. We need to know clearly that every single person that's on council understands why this report is important. As someone who spoke with a DNJ investigator because my brother was attacked during a mental health petition, he was tased several times, he was beat up, he ended up going to jail because they charged him with an assault on an officer before he ever went to the psychiatric hospital. He has an SMI diagnosis. He is disabled when he is in psychosis and when he is in crisis. Your officers attacked a person who was disabled, who has an SMI diagnosis. This resolution needs to pass, and you all need to do your jobs.
Isabel is next, followed by Luke.
Years of repeated constitutional violations by the Phoenix Police Department did not happen by accident. It took years of inaction, mismanagement, and callous disregard by Mayor Gallego, these council members, and their predecessors. According to news reports, the city and police department have turned over millions of records. These are the same records that the mayor and council have had access to for years, but have hid from the public and the Office of Accountability and Transparency. Phoenix residents deserve to know the truth. They deserve to know how deep the rot in this department really runs. Take responsibility, approve the petition, and also approve the letter that was just motioned.
Luke is next, followed by Vidi.
Good afternoon, Council. I am also speaking in support of item 84 and ask that you demand that the DOJ release the full report in its totality, not just the summary, but all of the findings that they studied and that they came up with. Police in this community have killed hundreds of our community members, and they have lied and violated our rights without consequence. The police killed our families publicly, and the data collected on their violation of our rights must be seen by the public. A summary is not acceptable. This council has dragged its feet for 6 years, while PPD has killed our neighbors in each of your districts, and the investigation has cost over $10 million. The police and PLEA have spent thousands on a deceptive PR campaign to hide the DOJ report and the violence of this department. Now is the time for council to own up and admit how bad and violent our police are. Phoenix police violence and the terrorizing of our communities must face its day in the sunlight. We deserve more than a summary of the report. We deserve more than bullet points. I support Mr. Harris's petition and ask council to issue the resolution. Own this. Own your department, and demand and write the letter demanding the release of the full investigation. Thank you.
Vidi is next, followed by Jose.
I'm here to also ask for this petition to be approved in its totality. This has been 2.5 years of this investigation, right now the longest investigation in history. There's a lot that we deserve to see, because every time the families come to demand a police report, they get redacted reports. Every time they ask to see the body cameras, they get redacted body cameras. And what we have seen in the last few months is a propaganda campaign and calling from the police union just for a technical assistance report. So what we're seeing is that this council, even though you've had the evidence for years, are not wanting to, again, see the depth of this report. All of these deaths are on your hands. Mayor Gallego, you've been there for 10 years. This is part of your legacy. And we're asking y'all to request this report to be released immediately as soon as it's available. We know that the DOJ is gonna make that decision, but asking you all as council members to also call for it, but because what we have seen is trying to hide and bury and say we don't need this report and say we are a self-correcting agency. This is not a self-correcting agency. Just this year, in the first 2 months, there have been 4 shootings. So what we're saying is that you all need to take responsibility. This is your leadership. Request the full investigation. Stop with the propaganda. Stop requesting the technical assistance. Admit your role in making the Phoenix Police Department one of the deadliest departments in the country. Do this immediately. Stop lying to the family. Stop lying to the media. If y'all had the same energy you have to put a false narrative to the media to find the answers, maybe we would have a different reality with this department.
Jose is next, y Maria Proxima.
Hi, good afternoon. My name's Jose Hernandez. I'm here to support Mr. Harris's citizen petition to release, and we're not asking, we're demanding the full release of the report. I'll tell you why I'm here. I'm here to support him because I know what that pain feels like. I watched my mother and my father bury their youngest son. I lost my only brother, my youngest sibling. My life changed in an instant. 26 years of memories were wiped out by the decision of one officer, a decision that was repeated 5 times with 2 gunshot wounds in the back. Mayor Kate, I know you're familiar with our story. We need this report and we need you guys to do the right thing. It's about time, it's past time. I can guarantee you this. If this city council continues to mistreat the people that are putting you in these seats, we will be coming for these seats, and we've proven it already. Senator Ana Hernandez beat an incumbent candidate to get a seat in the Senate to pass legislation to help our communities because apparently there's only a few people out here that are listening. I will make it my mission that I will take one of the seats here or one in the legislation or a government office if this council refuses to do the right thing. We're done playing games. People's lives are at risk. I have nieces and nephews that will never get to know the other side of my brother's life. We're done playing. Do the right thing.
Maria, and then Miros.
I am also here in support of the citizen petition. I've lived here in Phoenix for 23 years and have witnessed our elected officials turn a blind eye to the pain and suffering caused by Phoenix Police Department, including that of my family. Mayor Gallego and City Council, you have the opportunity to actually admit you've been wrong and finally admit your lack of actions have caused this harm. Take responsibility. You've had access to these records. This is not new information for you. Approve the petition, stop playing politics with my family's safety. Cool, the letter's fine, but we do need a vote in favor of this resolution. We need to admit your role in the history of police violence here in Phoenix and call the DOJ to publicly release the full report of the findings as soon as the report is ready.
Miros is next.
I'm also here in support of the petition. Everything's not okay. This DOJ investigation has been taking far too long, and it's one of the longest investigations thus far. This also needs to be released publicly to the community. Our police department has been under investigation for a reason. The DOJ investigation and with the DOJ investigation, the police department is trying to convey and persuade the community that they're self-assessing and self-correcting organization, and yet they continue to be one of the deadliest departments in the country. Our ask for you, Mayor, is will you take responsibility for your actions and finally admit to the fact that the police department has a pattern of using excessive and force against children, particularly us people of color, black and brown bodies. Admit the truth, vote in favor of the resolution, and admit your role in the history of the police violence, and call the DOJ to publicly release the full report of the findings as soon as the report with its totality, without hiding anything from our communities. It surprises me also that a lot of community members here come and talk to you that have been directly impacted by the killings of their loved members. They have to relive this trauma every single time they have to face you. Not only are you answering to them, but you're answering to them, to not just us, but them.
Jared is next, and then Alejandro.
Good afternoon. My name is Jared Keenan. I am the legal director of the ACLU of Arizona, and I am also a resident of the city of Phoenix. I address you tonight as someone keenly aware of the many problems with the Phoenix Police Department. The ACLU of Arizona has had to sue the Phoenix Police Department and the city of Phoenix over its unconstitutional use of force and in violation of First Amendment rights of peaceful protesters in Puente versus City of Phoenix. Learning through that litigation that the Phoenix Police Department doesn't just perpetrate violence on our community, but relishes and celebrates that violence. More recently, we've had to sue the Phoenix Police Department over the unconstitutional criminalization of our unhoused neighbors, over the unconstitutional seizure and destruction of their property, including destruction of important documents, including IDs, driver's license, social security cards, and the destruction of very personal items, including photographs, and even the ashes of a dead, deceased loved one, and the destruction of survival gear necessary for living on the streets, like blankets and tents. In that case, Fund for Empowerment versus Phoenix, we secured a preliminary injunction from a federal district court to stop these egregious constitutional violations. Yet securing this small victory required expensive and time-consuming litigation, because we know what every member of this council knows, and what we all know here, that the Phoenix Police Department will not reform itself. It will not self-correct. Everyone who pays attention in this room knows, because of the experiences of countless community members, because of the nearly $100 million paid out in recent lawsuit settlements, endless media stories, and numerous internal city reports showing that we have a police force that simply will not self-correct. The petition before this council is a simple thing that asks to see the results of over 2 years of an investigation by the DOJ. We deserve no less than to know and have confirmation that in a nation full of violent and deadly police agencies, the Phoenix Police Department is one of the most violent and one of the most deadly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alejandro is next, and then Sandra. Alejandro, can you hear us online? We cannot hear you. Alejandro?
Hello?
Okay, now we can hear you.
Oh, good afternoon. My name is Alejandro Hernandez, and my son, I'd like to confirm paragraph 7 of page 558. The council has been knowing of these things. My son has been the victim of physical sexual abuse for over 5 years, and due to the misconduct of the Phoenix Police Department, he continues to be the victim, and I continue to be ignored by the police department and the city council and the mayor. I have asked for help multiple times, and they refuse to even acknowledge what I'm asking them. And I know this is true because the detectives diagnosed my son with their personal opinion, contrary to the medical professional's diagnosis, and they're still refusing to help me. That's so. Just want help.
Thank you for that important testimony. Sandra will be our final speaker.
Hi. Hello. Can you hear me?
We can.
Oh, okay. Hi there. My name is Sandra Netkin. I reside here in Phoenix, Arizona, and I do support the petition. And I really urge you all to get the report from the DOJ. I have had issues with the police. There was an incident where I was having a bad night and a cop came over to have me taken to UPC. I am a mental health activist, and I take mental health very, very seriously. That cop went ahead and she lied on the petition and had claimed that I was making remarks saying that I was going to take my own life, which got me into a lot of trouble with the city, and which was not true, and which made me very upset. I'm angry. I'm heartbroken by the way the police in the city treat people that are in the system or who were in the system. I did get out of the system, but I still kind of live in fear of Phoenix police. And I worry even more after hearing all these stories. I am also currently pregnant, and sometimes I get scared bringing a child into this world and having to face the fear that my child will encounter these problems with Phoenix police. I urge you to get the report so we can hold the police responsible. They need transparency, and we need to make a better community because Arizona has a very bad reputation for these kinds of issues. And we need justice and we need transparency, and we can't live like this. We are citizens first.
Thank you. That concludes the public testimony. Roll call.
Ansari.
Yes.
Guardado.
Yes.
Hodge Washington.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Pastor.
I will explain my vote. Actually, I'm caught between this vote because the citizens' petition is asking for certain things, and we should be voting on the citizens' petition, but we're not. We're voting on sections of the citizens' petition, and that is different. And I want to go back in time in history and I will do my research to see at what point we tore apart a citizen's petition and then took elements of the citizen's petition. So I will be voting yes in support of the community. I heard your voice, I understand, but this is where we're at. If I were to do another motion to ask for the whole thing, it wouldn't even go through. I wouldn't get a second. I would possibly get a second, but it wouldn't pass. So I am willing to vote on this piece, so thank you. I mean, yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Waring. Stark. Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
We next turn to the final portion of our agenda, which is the public comment portion, and I'll ask the city attorney to explain this portion.
Thank you, Mayor.
During citizen comment, members of the public may address the City Council for up to 3 minutes on issues of interest or concern to them. The citizen comment session is limited to 30 minutes. The Arizona Open Meeting Law permits the City Council to listen to the comments but prohibits council members from discussing or acting on the matters presented.
Thank you, and we will have time for everyone registered today. We'll begin with Rex online. Okay, we do not have Rex. We will begin with Leslie, followed by Ari.
Well, that was incredible timing, because that was one of the things I'm so grateful. First of all, Laura Pastor, I want to thank you so much. You brought up a very important point. I'm not trying to flatter you. I'm just keeping it real.
I'm just,
yeah.
You don't have to.
Yeah. So, no, but what I'm saying is I appreciate that. See, what I saw was $5 million for the airport. What I saw was $200,000 for traffic signals so we can be surveillance rather than what was needed, which was for them to be put in promptly so that we can protect people. Why am I mentioning this, combining them together? Because when I'm talking about the homeless, I'm talking about a real issue. I'm not talking about bringing more income because we're going to say we can get more income if people fly in. We're talking about you guys are assigned. You're sworn to the Constitution to uphold it and be public servants. Servants. You're not authorities. You're not royalty. And I'm not saying that you're saying that. I'm just saying it for perspective that other people maybe don't understand because they forget that that's what you are as public servants. So when I'm sitting here knowing that we've got so many homeless and I'm seeing absorbent amount of money being passed through here, I'm like, what is happening? We've lost the human value. And Miss Mayor Kate Gallego, I've seen Miss Beatrice Johnson come here before. This was months ago. And this is what she appealed last time. I know you can't stand me. It's okay. I'm not really fond of you either. But the bottom line is this. They're asking for something that affects them personally. A lot of the things you guys pass on here are so far away. They're just they're items. I'm not trying to put you down. I don't think you realize you're being used like tools to usher in the 15-minute cities. It's something that's not very touchable, so it's not that offensive to you. But we really do have people that are literally up the street from where you work. There's no porta pots. It sounds so ridiculous. It is not ridiculous. They don't have beds. Matter of fact, one of the gentlemen that was in the audience, he's with Cass. He said that they have too many beds and not enough caseworkers. So when I see this kind of stuff being approved, large amount of money, and we don't take seriously the very people that you're sworn in to serve, whether they live on the street or they live in a mansion, that's who you're sworn to serve. I'm not here trying to dog you. Kate, I have a problem with you because you're on MAG. And that means you're against us. The World Economic Forum is not for us. You and Jack Sellers across the street, you're actually traitors by being part of that group. And people can say, oh, don't say that. That's disparaging. No, facts are facts. So I'm just asking you guys to remember when you're up there passing stuff, and we've got people that are homeless, and we've got people that literally, I'm not saying all police officers are bad. I'm still waiting for a body cam for a year ago. So I don't think it's a color issue. I think it's what's missing. What are you not getting that we need to deal with? Thank you.
Ari is next, followed by Jasmine.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. My name is Ari Barong-Huber, and I'm an organizer with Unite Here Local 11. So far, at least 9 union activists have been fired from SSP America since they first went on strike. If SSP thinks these scare tactics are going to work, they're in for a rude awakening. These tactics just will not work. Workers are not going to be silenced. But we're here today because SSP America is your contractor. This is your responsibility. Do you think that these allegations of racial disparities mean nothing? We're not asking you to blindly take our side. We're asking you to investigate these issues. Please put the issue of racial disparities at SSP on the agenda so that we can have a dialogue about this. and get to the bottom at what's happening at SSP. Thank you.
Jasmine is next, followed by Ms. Wilder.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. My name is Jasmine Glass. I was a cashier at SSP America at Sky Harbor International Airport just until a couple months ago. The last time I was here speaking to you, I informed you that we had filed complaints with the Attorney General and the Phoenix Equal Opportunity Department alleging racial disparities in promotion, pay, and hiring at SSP America. To this day, we haven't received a response from the EOD or from the City Council. Just 2 weeks before I became a public whistleblower, I was fired from SSP. So far, at least 9 outspoken union activists have been fired. We have filed charges with the Federal Labor Board alleging that our disciplines and terminations are unlawful because SSP is applying their policies in a discriminatory way to target union supporters. When will it be enough for this council to take what is happening at our airport, at your airport, seriously? The Attorney General oversees the entire state, and they've reached out and met with us. Why isn't Phoenix taking this seriously? We aren't well off. Losing our jobs means dealing with being hungry and possibly homeless. Please, I asked you before to do what you can to ensure that our allegations of racial disparities are investigated. We've heard nothing from the EOD. Please put this on the next agenda so that we can have a discussion. So show us that it matters what your contractor is doing and hold them accountable. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Wilder is next, followed by Roberta Martinez. Okay, and Roberta is next. Followed by Mrs. Johnson.
Once again, my name is Roberta Martinez. I'm here to address the council again. This has been numerous of times over the last few years that we've addressed you guys over my aunt. As I feel as though she has not been treated fairly because, as you say, she may be homeless, unsheltered, whatever the reason may be, she is still a Phoenix citizen. She does deserve her rights. We as family members believe that our rights were violated as victims' rights because the Phoenix police, again, is not doing their job to what they are here to do, is protect and serve. It seems like they're taking away a lot from the protect and the serving and just maybe serving themselves. We do need justice here. All of the concerns, like they said, you have things that are going on in this city that does not, it concerns us as citizens, but it's not hitting what's really hitting us because it's so far removed. We can't get to this step if we don't have these 3 steps before. You guys are trying to make everybody skip to say, oh, this is the bigger picture, but you're never addressing any of the family's concerns or needs.
Ms. Johnson is next, followed by Terrian.
I got a little off track last time, so I want to make sure I stay on track. And I want to say, I too was told by the mayor that I could call anytime over a year and a half ago, and I called a lot of times. I never, ever, ever got a response. I emailed, I never, ever, ever got a response, ever. And I called all the time, I emailed, so I just let that go. But what I'm up here for is, as I mentioned earlier, and so did my niece, that Nebraska Pekovic got another ticket for driving 57 miles in a 40-mile zone. He was going 58 to 60 miles when he killed 2 human beings while he was under the influence. We have been going through this for almost 2 years. We had charges that we had to fight for. Your city prosecutor office, Hillary, she violated our victim rights on so many occasions, which I am working with the Attorney General. Actually, I got a report back from the Attorney General saying our victims' rights have been violated by Maricopa County, and the city of Phoenix is next. Because what happened was he failed to come to court on the 7th of February. He was a no-show. He had a warrant for 2 serious bodily injuries and death, and 1 for failure to appear. This man, we did not get to go to court because we were not notified that he got out. He got out without I got all the paperwork. I'm gonna give you all this because I'm told that it's not in record unless you have a copy. So I have a copy for you all. He was able to get out of county jail without seeing a judge. How do they do that? How is he continuing to get away with things? If I have a copy of his record, he's a criminal. How is he being protected like that? Also, the other thing that they did, and this is the main part right here. We went to court on the 26th. He was not there. He didn't put in paperwork not to be there. I told Hillary, isn't he supposed to be here? She said, yes, he's supposed to be here. So she went and made an agreement with his attorney and the judge that he could call in. All our victims' rights is violated so bad that you guys couldn't let us go proceed with the thing because they did his bail hearing again. So now we were supposed to go to start the process of court. And guess what? The city prosecutor's office made an agreement, it's right here, with Maricopa County that they would prosecute him. And that was June of 2023. He is not prosecuted. He is continuing to violate the law, and all of you know this. Why are you sitting on this? The Maricopa County told me because of a lawsuit. Are you serious? When does criminal have something to do with civil? Why isn't he charged? Here's the paperwork. It says that Maricopa County has made an agreement with the city that they would charge him for misdemeanor prosecution. July 2023. Why hasn't he been charged? We're going on 2 years.
Thank you. Terrian will be our next speaker. Terrian? Okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Terrion Ross. I was initially here for item number 84. I was here virtually. Well, did this wrong. Either way, I'll just start. My name is Terrion Ross. I'm an Arizona native, South Phoenix to be specific. One of Arizona's hot spots for gentrification right now, if you're unaware. So please excuse me and little baby King because these meetings are inaccessible and I'm a working mother of 4. I'm actually risking losing my job at State Farm right now to make sure that I'm here today. 13 years ago, I quit my pursuit of being a Phoenix police officer at Arizona State University. I went for 3 years, and after experiencing the unjust side of Phoenix PD, I quit because I couldn't be associated with that. Subsequently, about 4 or 5 years later, after having my first child, I came home after a family meeting to someone coming to my home and wanting to know why I was there. And he pulled out a gun. And when that happened, Phoenix PD was there immediately. But when they came, they did not come to help me. They came to see what was wrong. And because I lived in a community that didn't need to be policed correctly, I was under the barrel of a gun with me and his big sister, a 2-year-old. And as Phoenix PD told me that they needed to go into my home to make sure that there was nobody in there, there were no guns, I sat on the side of the road in the cold with a 2-year-old and my pit bull running around, and I see that Phoenix PD is running around with my dog, asking the dog if the dog needs water, if the dog was okay, if the dog was injured. But I'm here with my 2-year-old child on the side of the road, under a barrel of a gun, guns bigger than me that I've ever seen before. I'm here on behalf of every black citizen who does not know that this exists, who does not have the voice to say that I'm gonna speak up. This city was built on the back of black and brown people, the same black and brown bodies that Phoenix PD will dispose of, and that you guys will help make sure they still get paid and the city runs so you guys get what you need. I'm asking today, I'm not asking for any articles. I don't know all this extra stuff. I don't know the politics, but I know that I'm a citizen in this city. I pay taxes here. My grandparents came here by way of Mississippi, Louisiana. I am my ancestors, and you will do right by us by any means necessary. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your testimony. That is our final speaker. We are adjourned.
Another feature from this project. Find out more at valleymetro.org/northwest2 opening.